So basically, a DAM, a DAML workflow can be working perfectly on the ledger and still be difficult for a human to understand. You can see contracts, events, and API responses, but answering three simple questions can still take too long. What state is the workflow in? Who can act next? And where did something go wrong? Today, DML developers and Canton operators often reconstruct that answer manually. They move between terminal logs, JSON ledger API responses, contract IDs, template code, and explorers. The information exists, but it is fragmented. That slows debugging, makes workflow harder to explain, and makes stuck or risky processes easier to miss. This problem came up repeatedly in my conversations with DML and Canton builders. They could inspect raw activity but still struggle to translate it into workflow states, authority, and business meaning. DamlLens turns Canton ledger activity into a readable workflow explanation. It combines ledger evidence with knowledge from the workflow's compiled DML model. So instead of presenting isolated events, DamlLens shows the complete process, what changed, where the workflow is now, who has authority, and what needs attention. So let's go over and connect to Canton. We are connected. So let's go on. So DamlLens provides 7 connected views. The overview view explains the current workflow state in plain English. The timeline connects contract creation and archival events into one ordered business process. The contract shows active and archived contract states. Authority explains signatories, witnesses, controllers, and which party can perform each action. Alerts surface overdue, stuck, or risky workflow conditions. Workflow model reads a compiled DAR to identify templates, choices, authority rules, and possible next states. And raw data preserves the underlying ledger evidence, so every interpretation remains inspectable. So let's create a new workflow. From here, a user can choose several paths. They can create a fresh sample workflow, discover existing visible contracts, start a shared multi-party workflow, open the verified walkthrough, or analyze known ledger update IDs. For this demonstration, I'll create a fresh invoice financing workflow on DevNet. The overview immediately tells us the business outcome. The invoice was created, accepted, submitted for financing, and funded. It then moved into an overdue state because the buyer payment is missing. Instead of reconstructing that from several contract events, the user gets one concise explanation: the current state, the risk level, and the next issue to resolve. The timeline shows every ledger confirmed state change in order. Each step includes each contract ID, update ID, command, timestamp, offset, and witnesses. The authority view answers who can see the workflow and who can act. It maps the supplier, the buyer, financier, signatories, and witnesses to their responsibilities. The alert view then explains the risk in business terms. The invoice is overdue because the buyer payment is missing and the workflow requires attention. Familiar DML application, the user can also load its compiled DAR. DamlLens maps contract templates, fields, choices, controllers, and possible next states. Every conclusion is clearly labeled as coming from the DAR, inferred from code, confirmed by the ledger, or dependent on runtime data. This allows DamlLens to understand new workflows without pretending that inferred behavior has already happened.